Welcome back to Legally Speaking. I'm your host, Melanie Van Orde, paralegal here at Aitken Robertson. And as always, I'm joined by our criminal defense lawyer and firm founder, Richard Aitken. Great to have you back again, Richard. So today's topic is called It's Not Like TV, because most legal dramas are American. And that's left a lot of Canadians with the wrong idea about how our criminal justice system works.
That's right, Mel. Both Canadian and American systems have at its core British common law. Things started from there, however, it developed differently. Just like, for instance, sports. There was soccer. From soccer came rugby, and from rugby came American football. Same thing with the justice system. There's differences in Canada and the United States, and we'll explore those today. It's not like on TV.
Okay, so let's start with the terminology, Richard. Americans talk about misdemeanors and felonies. In Canada, we have summary conviction offenses and indictable offenses. So what's the difference?
There is a difference and it matters. So in Canada, a summary offense is like an American misdemeanor. It would be the less serious charges, such as maybe trespassing, cause of disturbance, and things like that. Indictable matters in Canada are like the American felonies, very serious. It could be murder, robbery, aggravated sexual assault, treason, things like that, basically.
Okay, and then we also have hybrid offenses in Canada, which is quite unique.
Hybrid offenses is kind of in between. With hybrid offenses, the Crown gets to decide in their absolute discretion whether or not they'll proceed summarily or by indictment. An example of a hybrid offense would be impaired driving. The nature of the Crown's mode of trial and how they elect will be determined from that election, basically.
So, and another big difference on TV, when people are arrested, they are immediately dragged to the court and then plead not guilty. That's how it happens in the US, but not here.
No, if you did that in Canada, probably people would laugh a little bit. We don't do it that way. In Canada, it's the very last court date where you say, Your Honor, I plead guilty or not guilty or whatever your plea might be.
And in the US, even something like a DUI can result in a jury trial. Is that possible in Canada?
Well, if it was impaired driving causing death, perhaps, but the routine impaired driving, operate motor vehicle 80 milligrams or higher, impaired driving, refusing a breath test, 99.9% of the time, so it'll be judge alone, which would be Ontario Court of Justice, no preliminary hearing, and no jury.
So there is a quick list of offenses that would typically qualify for a jury trial in Canada, and those include murder, manslaughter, aggravated sex assault, robbery, certain drug trafficking charges, kidnapping, treason, or terrorism related offenses.
That's right, Melanie. In Ontario, I would say probably about 98% of all criminal cases are dealt with in what used to be called provincial court. It's now called Ontario Court of Justice. The other 2% would be in Superior Court, which used to be called District Court.
How about sentencing? In the US, we see people getting 25 years for drug offenses or life without parole. That doesn't really happen here, does it?
No, it's nothing even close. In the United States, of course, we have such rules as three strikes and you're out. There used to be this situation in California. Canada, the sentences are quite different. Generally speaking, much more lenient, a much greater emphasis on rehabilitation.
And life sentences in Canada still allow for parole in many cases.
Yeah, even murder case, 25 years before parole, you'd be paroled for the rest of your life. But yes, people are given a second chance.
Another important difference in the systems are how judges are chosen. In Canada, judges are appointed, but in the US,
In the US, at the state level, generally speaking, they would be elected, which means they run a campaign, they raise financing, and the local electorate decides who the judge should be. At the federal level, courts of appeal, Supreme Court of Canada, they're appointed.
so in Canada, it's much more insulated from politics.
More isolated, but still, if you're part of the ruling party, it gives you a better chance, I would say. There are committees that make recommendations to the government and cabinet as to who should be picked. So there's still a political element, but I would say much less so than in the United States.
And then the last difference would be legal aid. So in the US, if you can't afford a lawyer, they'll assign you a public defender. What's the equivalent in Canada?
And that would be duty counsel. So if you're arrested and you're at the police station, you want to talk to a lawyer, you don't have one, you call a toll-free number. You can speak to duty counsel for free immediate advice. If after that, once you're released or processed at least, you need a lawyer, you cannot afford a lawyer, you can apply for legal aid. The test for legal aid basically is two-part. One is the economic aspect, whether or not you have sufficient means to afford a lawyer and thus do not qualify for legal aid. Also, to qualify for legal aid, there has to be a reasonable prospect that the Crown is seeking jail.
And then if someone qualifies for full representation from legal aid, they may be assigned a legal aid lawyer separately.
They get to choose. So there's a list of lawyers who accept legal aid certificates. Many of these lawyers are very fine lawyers. The client gets to decide who they'd like. And then the lawyer gets to decide if they prefer that particular file.
And then, so the big takeaway, Canadian and US systems may seem similar on the surface, but they're actually very different on how they operate.
That's correct. In terms of general principles, they're very similar, but within the internal systems, the wording is different. The system is somewhat different, and I prefer ours.
So, and if you're confused, give us a call at Aitken Robertson. We deal with this every day and we're happy to walk you through what to expect. So thank you for watching Legally Speaking. If you found this video helpful, hit like, subscribe, and tap that bell for more honest legal insights without the Hollywood drama. Thank you for tuning in to Legally Speaking, proudly brought to you by Aitken Robertson Criminal Defence. We represent clients facing criminal charges all over Ontario, providing you with legal support and dedicated advocacy. If you enjoyed this episode and want to see more content, please like and subscribe to our channel. For more information, visit our website. We also offer free books on various types of criminal charges, which you can request on our website or by using the QR codes on your screen now. For legal assistance, call us today or visit our website to request a meeting with one of our experienced lawyers or licensed paralegals. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time on Legally Speaking.